Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, June 2nd. We have a lot to talk about this morning. For several days now, we've been talking about the possibility of an early tropical threat. Indeed, we have a tropical system that will impact Florida, the Bahamas, and western part of Cuba over the next few days. We also have a threat for some severe thunderstorm activity in parts of the mid-Atlantic region later today into tonight. Certainly can be some heavy rainfall associated with a cold frontal system that is headed into the eastern part of the nation. Looks like that front will pass the east coast by tomorrow, Friday morning, and pave the way for a very nice weekend in much of the mid-Atlantic region, the northeastern part of the nation. First, we'll focus in on the tropical threat, and then we'll talk a little bit about the mid-Atlantic heavy rain and severe weather threat for later today into tonight. Well, the official beginning of the Atlantic Basin hurricane season is June 1st. It's just an arbitrary date. Doesn't mean anything to nature. We can certainly have storms during the month of May, or certainly no storms until later on in the summer season. But it just turns out that the first real tropical threat of the season coincides with the very beginning of the official hurricane season. Again, that runs from June 1st all the way to December 1st, arbitrary dates on both ends. We have an area of showers and thunderstorms right near the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico right now. It'll get a little better organized as atmospheric conditions become a little bit more conducive to intensification, and the likely track is right into the Gulf of Mexico and then towards the southern half of Florida over the next couple of days. This will bring some heavy rainfall to western Cuba, the Florida Keys, and it looks like the southern half of Florida. Now, the rest of Florida has to stay on alert as well, because there's some possibilities that this could end up moving a little bit farther to the north. You have the Bahama Island chain right here. They'll get inundated with some rainfall as well. The likely scenario is for this system to move in this fashion and then continue on out in this direction later in the upcoming weekend, reaching the western part of the Atlantic Ocean. Whether it becomes a named storm or not a guarantee. I would guess likely that it does become the very first named storm of the season, which would be Alex. Again, conditions are going to become more favorable for intensification, so very possibly can become the first named storm of the 2022 tropical season. Well, here's the potential for rainfall over the next few days. This is actually an outlook by NOAA's Weather Prediction Center for the next 3 days, from this morning, Thursday morning, all the way to Sunday morning. All of this associated with this tropical system, and it's including some excessive rainfall. Right in the very center here, you can see a brownish tinge to the color scheme right here. That actually is on this scale right here, 7 inches or more of rainfall across the Florida Keys, southern part of Florida, and certainly heavy rainfall extends up into central Florida from Cuba to the Bahamas here, especially the northern part of the Bahamas. And we're talking Friday, Saturday time frame, maybe even into Sunday in parts of the Bahama Island chain. And then the system continues to move on out to the north and east with improving conditions later in the weekend in these hard-hit areas from, again, what could become the first tropical storm named Alex of the 2022 tropical season. Well, let's take a look at a couple of different models for this tropical system. We'll focus in still on the tropical system here, using the Canadian model right now, and then I want to take a look at the NAM model, because there's some differences even at this close point in time relative to the event coming up Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Here's the beginning stages right here on the day Thursday. Let's move forward here, and the Canadian model has it moving into the southeastern part of the Gulf of Mexico. Here is the low pressure area associated with that tropical wave. Again, right now, just an area of showers and thunderstorms near the Yucatan Peninsula region. This is the forecast map for tomorrow evening. Some heavy rain at this time, extending from western Cuba to the Florida Keys into southern Florida, continues to move to the north and east. By the time we get to midday on Saturday, some tremendous rainfall from this system, the southern half of Florida, Florida Keys, and at this particular point in time, the middle of the day on Saturday, much of the Bahama Islands, especially the northern Bahama Islands, getting hit with some tropical rainfall as well. It continues to move slowly to the north and east. Now, the Canadian model has it kind of tucked in along the northeastern part of the coastal section of Florida by the time we get to early Sunday, and kind of spins around a little bit. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. The NAM model also has kind of a tucked in right in this region here by the time we get to Sunday morning. Certainly still an influx of some very, very humid air across the Bahamas, southern part of Florida, the Florida Keys, resulting in some very heavy rainfall. Eventually spins its way out into the southwestern Atlantic, but could ultimately bring some rainfall by the latter part of the weekend into the early part of next week to the Carolina coastline. Something we'll certainly have to monitor over the next several days. Let's go out a little bit farther in time. And again, eventually it works its way out into the western part of the Atlantic Ocean. Now let's take a look at a NAM model. This is the 12-kilometer version of the NAM. There's a higher resolution model as well. Let's just go through. This is on an hourly by hourly basis here, and we're moving forward now into early Friday, slowly spinning around. There it exits off the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico right here into the southern Gulf of Mexico by early Friday. And this particular model kind of has it meandering around for a while, and then it kicks on out to the north and east, maybe more like central Florida, and again ultimately gets tucked away right in here. This is now in the middle part of the weekend, late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. Certainly some heavy rainfall throughout this area, Friday, Saturday, into Sunday time frame, and then by the time we get to early Sunday morning, tucked along the northeastern coastline of Florida, pretty healthy intensification here. And again, if it becomes named, which I believe is quite likely, it would become Alex. And here we go. By the time we get to midday on Sunday, right near the Georgia coastline, spring rainfall up across the South Carolina and perhaps eventually to the North Carolina coastline, and it kind of sits there for a little bit of time and then pushes on out to the north and east. This is the farthest out in time that this particular model run goes, but still not everything is set in stone with the track of this storm. Again, all of Florida should be on guard for what could become Tropical Storm Alex. Certainly some heavy rainfall across western Cuba, the Florida Keys, southern and central Florida, perhaps even into northern Florida, and much of the Bahamas will experience some heavy rainfall. Again, we're talking about Friday, Saturday, Sunday time frame. Well, let's now shift gears and talk about the potential severe weather later today into tonight across portions of the Mid-Atlantic region. This is the outlook for the severe weather probabilities for later today into tonight by NOAA's Storm Prediction Center. Last evening, there was severe weather right across this part of Pennsylvania into the New York City metro area. Strong to severe thunderstorm activity right here. That whole zone kind of shifts to the south and east today. D.C. under the gun today. Even the Philadelphia metro region, southern New Jersey, for the potential of some strong to severe thunderstorms later today into tonight. And certainly, even without those strong to severe thunderstorms, there can be some heavy rain showers as well. All of this associated with a cold front system moving in from the northwest to the southeast. Best chance for the severe weather will be typical time after some daytime heating later in the afternoon into the early evening hours in places like D.C., Philadelphia, perhaps all the way up to central New Jersey and New York City. But they had probably the heaviest rainfall associated with this system in the overnight hours late yesterday. And again, that zone shifts to the south and east today, right into this area, the southern half of the Mid-Atlantic region. Well, let's wrap up by looking at the high-resolution version of the NAM model. This is a 3-kilometer version, and we're looking at radar reflectivities here as we begin the day here on Thursday. Thursday. Already some scattered showers, maybe embedded thunder across much of Pennsylvania as we begin the day, and really can rain at just about any time today in D.C., Philadelphia, southern New Jersey, for example. But the best chance certainly will come in the afternoon hours into the early evening hours. And let's move forward here on an hourly basis here. You see some scattered precipitation here as we get into midday. This is about the noon forecast time. Now notice an important feature: low pressure actually forms along this incoming boundary zone. That kind of enhances the chance for showers and thunderstorms later in the day. And look at this, by the time we get to, let's say, the middle of the afternoon, this particular high resolution model putting out some very strong thunderstorms, what appear to be very strong thunderstorms across southeastern Pennsylvania, places like Lancaster, into Chester County, and certainly also down across the D.C. metro region into eastern West Virginia. And here again, it's that low pressure area right along that frontal boundary zone. So that certainly can result in some heavy rainfall, again, by the middle of the afternoon, and that threat continues into the early evening, and probably the most intense band will set up late in the day into early tonight across eastern Virginia, headed to the southern part of the Delmarva Peninsula. Certainly this can be something to really watch out for by the time we get to, let's say, 7, 8, 9 p.m. this evening. Southern half of the Delmarva Peninsula all the way down to Norfolk, the rest of the southeastern part of Virginia. So certainly an active weather day in the Mid-Atlantic region. The threat for some heavy rain showers just about any time, but more favorable time period will be this afternoon into the evening. Also, the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorm activity later today into tonight in much of the Mid-Atlantic region, especially to the south, let's say, of New York City, from central New Jersey across south central and southeastern Pennsylvania, and then down into Maryland, Virginia, and especially the Delmarva Peninsula. Good news here is that this frontal system clears off the eastern seaboard early tomorrow, paving the way for a very nice weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region. Can't complain at all for temperatures peaking out in the 70s in most areas during the early part of June for this first weekend of June on Saturday and Sunday, with plenty of sunshine as well. No sustained extreme heat in sight for the Mid-Atlantic region. Certainly we go through the first half of next week with pretty comfortable temperatures in the Mid-Atlantic region and the northeastern U.S. for the early part of June. So stay tuned for updates on the tropical system. Again, very likely to become the first tropical storm named Alex of the 2022 tropical season. Will certainly impact, it looks like, Florida, especially southern and central Florida, Florida Keys, the Bahamas, and the western half of Cuba. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.